Few areas of Turkey have been as thoroughly excavated as Troy, Truva in Turkish. 9 different strata have yielded pieces of a history that runs from around 400 BC until about AD 300. Troy was the pivot of Homer's Iliad and was where the decade-long Trojan War, 13th century BC, was fought. Remember the movie with Brad Pitt, Troy, the scene when he kills Hector? Many artists were inspired by this, like Hammerfall, Swedish power metal band, this Hector and him, Last Stand of Achilles, Led Zeppelin, and there are many others. The site is known as Hasarlik, or Castle Kingdom in the Turkish. The stonework and walls are impressive. Visible today are a defense wall, 2 sanctuaries, probably dating from 8th century BC, houses from various periods, and a Roman theater. The site called the Pillar House at the southern gate may have been the palace of King Priam. The site is well marked with 12 information points and some ongoing excavations. The most visible attraction is large wooden Trojan horse, a reconstruction of the device used by Greeks to deceive and ultimately vanquish the Trojans, and a universal symbol of treachery today. In August each year, Turkish schoolchildren release a white doe from the Trojan horse to celebrate peace. Schliemann search for ancient Troy. German-born Heinrich Schliemann, regarded by many as unscrupulous plunderer, which I does not share, not by me, and by others as an archaeological pioneer. That's a much better point of view, in my opinion. Nurtured a lifelong ambition to discover Homer's Troy. In 1873, 3 years after starting excavation at Hisarlik, they stumbled upon what he claimed to be King Priam's hoard of gold and silver jewelry. The over-eager explorer damaged the site, but his valuable find demonstrated that Greek civilization started 1,000 years earlier than previously believed. Part of the hoard, which was on display in Berlin Museum, vanished after World War II. It reappeared in the Pushkin Museum in Russia in 1996. Its return authenticity and origin is still controversial. Heinrich Schliemann's wife wearing Priam's jewelry. So I'm reading from Eyewitness Travel Turkey, guide that shows you what others only tell you. We spent the night before visiting Troy in Kanakhale. It occupies narrowest point of the strait called Dardanelles, which are 1,200 meters wide at this point. In 450 BC, the Persian king Xerxes built a bridge of boards here to land his troops in Thrace, and the final battle of Peloponnesian War took place in these waters around 400 BC. During his campaign to take Constantinople in 1453, Mehmed II, the Conqueror, built 2 fortresses to secure the straits: Kilit Bahir on the European side and Kimenlik in Kanakhale harbor. The Gallipoli, the famous battlefield of First World War, is not very far from Kanakhale. In 1915, if I remember correctly, there was a British landing there with expeditional force, more than 100,000 troops. They tried to gain momentum there and make an attack, but they could only control a relatively small piece of land and had to abandon its landing operation and retreat. So it was the biggest victory of Turkey in the First World War.
Snow is falling down on this glorious land. Colors fading, turning into white again. To fallen heroes, angels sing. They cry their winter tears. Endless morning days will turn to years. So this is goodbye. I take leave of you and spread your wings, and you will fly away now. Fly away now. Nothing on earth stays forever, but none of your deeds were in vain. Deep in our hearts you will live again. You're gone to the home of the brave. Every silent moment I will treasure inside. Even though it's hard to understand that a silent wind can blow the candle out, taking everything, leaving the pain far behind. You call out my name, but your voice is fading into the wind. Embraced, you'll fly away now. Fly away now. Nothing on earth stays forever, but none of your deeds were in vain. Deep in our hearts you will live again. You're gone to the home of the brave. Nothing on earth stays forever, but none of your deeds were in vain. Deep in our hearts you will live again. You're gone to the home of the brave. Yeah. My eyes are closed, I feel you're far away. Far beyond that shining star. I know you'll find what you've been fighting for. Far beyond that shining star. Down on bended knee I pray, bring courage to these souls. Make him live forever in the heart of the bowl. So I say farewell, my friends. I hope we'll meet again when my time has come to fall from grace. So this is goodbye. I take leave of you and spread your wings, and you will fly away now. Fly away now. Nothing on earth stays forever, but none of your deeds were in vain. Deep in our hearts you will live again. You'll come to the home of the brave. Nothing on earth stays forever, but none of your deeds were in vain. Deep in our hearts you will live again. You'll come to the home of the brave. Nothing on earth stays forever, but none of your deeds were in vain. Deep in our hearts you will live again. You'll come to the home of the brave. Nothing on earth stays forever, but none of your deeds were in vain. Deep in our hearts you will live again. You'll come to the home of the brave. Nothing on earth stays forever, but none of your deeds were in vain. Deep in our hearts you will live again. You'll come to the home of the brave. Nothing on earth stays forever, but none of your deeds were in vain. Deep in our hearts you will live again. You'll come to the home of the brave. Nothing on earth stays forever, but none of your deeds were in vain. Deep in our hearts you will live again. You'll come to the home of the brave. Yeah. Nothing on earth stays forever, but none of your deeds were in vain. Deep in our hearts you will live
My son, ask for thyself another kingdom, for that which I leave is too small.